We continue our work. Oleksandr Motuzyanyk, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson on ATO-related issues. The floor is yours. Greetings to everyone. Information on main events that took place yesterday in the ATO area. In Lugansk direction, yesterday the situation has become hot. In Krimsk and near Popasna, the enemy was using heavy weaponry, mortars and guns. They launched more than 50 mortar and 90 artillery shells. All the shellings were taking place from 6 p.m. till midnight. Several times Ukrainian troops were replying back. Besides, the enemy violated the ceasefire in Stanitsa, Lugansk and Novotoshkivsk. In total, there were 18 enemies shellings in Lugansk directions. In 9 cases, they were using heavy weaponry. Donetsk direction, yesterday the situation has worsened along the whole front line. In Svetlodarska Arch, in the second half of the day, the enemy started using mortars. In a few hours, they started using artillery. They were shelling till late at night. Near Gorlivka yesterday it was also hot. The enemy was violating ceasefire in Zaitsevo, Novgorodsk and Verkhnyataretsk. The militants were using mortars and armored equipment. In Avdiivka, the situation hasn't changed after several morning shellings. In the second half of the day, the militants started to shell for 6 hours at our positions from southern eastern direction. The enemy was using mortars and tanks. The similar situation is near Shakhta Dutovka, where there were shellings in the daytime and at night yesterday. Also, it was not quiet yesterday in Kamenets-Opatny and Pisky. Yesterday, almost all our block posts were shelled by the enemy. There were 42 enemy shellings registered in Donetsk direction, half of them from heavy weaponry yesterday. Mariupolsky direction, the hottest place was Gnutova. In the second half of the day, the militants were shelling at several of our strongholds. They were shelling from different directions. The occupants were using guns and mortars, which they were using close to the front line. In total, they launched 100 artillery and mortar shells. Also, there were mortar shellings in Mariinsk, Novotroitsk and Chermalik, and in the result of that, the block checkpoint Mariinka suffered because of that. In other places, the shellings continue. In total, there were 28 enemy shellings in Mariupolsky direction, 6 from heavy weaponry, and traditionally most of the violations were taking place at the front line section, Pavlovich-Shirokina. In the result of these actions, there were no Ukrainian servicemen killed, 6 were wounded and injured. Yesterday in Bakhmutsky district of Donetsk, the security service discovered the informer of the militants. He was collecting information near Svetlodarska Arch. He was collecting information about the number of Ukrainian units, the places of their dislocation. After that, the militants were using this information for shelling at Ukrainian military and civilians. In Ivano-Frankivsk region, there are planned military training going on.
Особовий склад 10-ї.
The personnel of the 10th separate driving of the armored machinery. Kharkiv operational brigade of the National Guards also carried out snipers in line with NATO standards. The servicemen trained themselves in snipers firing March system of science and arrangements in positions. In Dnipro, the treatment of wounded British journalist Christopher Nunn continues. His sight is gradually restoring. His right eye now can see 90% of objects, while the left eye can see the light. Today in Makiyevka, Mikhailo Tolstoy, with the nickname Givi, a Russian colonel and leader of Somali band formation, was killed. Tolstoy joined the band formations back in 2014, participated in combats against Ukrainian troops, made rapid success in Korea, and he was famous for very cruel treatment with prisoners of war and hostages, and with civilians, for looting and crimes of war. In recent times, Somali band formation experienced hard losses in result of attacks and assaults near Avdiivka, as it was near Donetsk airport. That's why that's natural that Mikhailo Tolstoy was killed in result of that attacks. Since there are no questions,